This is Creating Your Encore Career and Becoming a Silver Entrepreneur with your host, Lynn Freest. Lynn will share ideas and expert advice from people that are walking in your shoes and living their encore careers, where they want and at the pace they want. You'll start a company of one with confidence and knowledge to live a fulfilled life of freedom and ease. Lynn is a coach and leadership consultant whose mission is to show senior leaders and experts how to start something refreshing and new after a full career in the corporate environment.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the podcast, Creating Your Encore Career and Becoming a Silver Entrepreneur. This is episode 145, and it's how to position and pitch yourself, based on the teaching of Mike Kim in his book, You Are the Brand. Well, making the leap from being a corporate leader and expert into becoming a solopreneur can be daunting, but the rewards are great. You can work when you want, where you want, and you can do the work you love. And I can be that guide and thinking partner to help you do this. I'll soon be offering openings in my group coaching program, and these programs will enable you and a peer group to launch and develop your own encore career. So to get off to a powerful start, please contact me. So what are the next steps in creating your encore career? Now, it could be that you have a good-sized portfolio, but now you're beginning to wonder if it's going to let you live the life you want for the next 30-plus years. So maybe now your goals are shifting a little bit, and they might be something like you want to be earning and learning and leaving a legacy. So you want to include earning in some of the goals you have for the next chapter in life. And again, as I've said before, the bottom line is, quite frankly, people in the second half of life are essential to be participating in the full functioning of our economy. So again, we're reviewing in these last several episodes the wonderful book by Mike Kim, You Are the Brand, and his 8-step blueprint to showcase your unique expertise and to build a highly profitable and personally fulfilling business. Now, I've gone through several of the steps, but today we're going to talk about 2 of the steps. One is positioning and the other is pitch. And they kind of, for me anyway, are kind of related. Now, when you think of positioning, as Mike describes it, you have what you might say is visual identity, verbal identity, and value identity. The visual identity is logo, or you think of Target, but it can also be your picture. It could be that if you're selling yourself, your services, your expertise, your picture may be, in fact, your visual identity. Then you're going to have a verbal identity. It's the copy, the videos, the things that people hear you say or read about you. And some of that, you want that to be consistent with your visual identity. So you don't want to be saying something on yourself, but then use bad language or poor grammar or something like that in terms of the text you have. And the final thing is value identity. And that gets to this piece of positioning. If you're going to be positioning yourself as an expert in a particular piece of knowledge you have that you want to share, then you have to be able to articulate that to people. Now, Mike in the book, he does some marvelous examples and stories. One of them, he created a slide where he took the picture from a Louis Vuitton ad, but then he superimposed the text from Walmart and said, "Everyday low prices. Can't beat our prices." Obviously, the visual identity and the verbal identity, there was a complete clash. It just confused you as you looked at that. Now, that being said, I think Mike also says that at some point when you think of positioning, again, you have expertise, you want to be positioned as an expert, but there are cases where you may offer some things that are more modestly priced. I think, again, Mike uses an example of a gentleman who has very high rates to serve as a coach. But you know what? He also sells day planners, that again, incorporate some of his thoughts and ideas. So some of this, you can do both things. I know a colleague that I'm aware of, she is offering high value coaching and marketing. She also offers some online courses, very simple things that people can go in and maybe get a sample or a start on working with her. Fairly low price point, but again, it's valuable in a different sense. So positioning is a kind of a two-edged thing. You can do it in a couple of different ways. The next thing in positioning is know who your competitors are. Now, you can think I'm competing against big names or big brands or big agencies, whatever they may be. And that could be very true. But on the other hand, you have to differentiate yourself. So maybe the big agencies just give everybody kind of the same solution, stuff like that. You have to be able to go out there and articulate who you are, who you're not, and maybe what makes you different. The other thing that you'll go back and do is you'll be able to use what we talked about earlier, your point of view, your personal stories. That's the kind of thing people will relate to that. People won't necessarily relate to facts and figures as well as they'll relate to stories that you tell about your journey. So the next thing is, when you think of yourself as an expert, what do I sell and to whom? The couple of books I've mentioned before that maybe give you some ideas of. One is Wisdom at Work, The Making of a Modern Elder by Chip Conley. Another one is Humble Consulting. This is the idea of really listening as opposed to selling solutions. And so that's another book. Finally, there's a book called Deep Smarts, and I would recommend that. Again, they articulate what it is that makes you so valuable. They're trying to say this is what companies need to have, but they're also saying, and this is why you can create your own value. So the second piece of this episode is talking about pitching. Okay, you've got a position, you've got a picture of where you are, you've got your stories. Now, how to actually deliver that to your customers. Now, Mike says there's basically about 5 different places the customer can be at. They can be totally unaware of what they need and what you do. And in that case, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to start with telling stories. Help them understand what it is you do, and even maybe help them think about what might be their problem. The next stage is a client could be problem aware. So they have a grasp of the problem, and then you have to start giving in, well, here's some of the ways that people solve this problem. Here are some ideas. Here are the things that maybe the next steps. The third step is that they're aware there are solutions out there for the problem they're facing. And so at this point, you want to be able to start articulating how their problem and your solution might fit together so that they can start mulling around, okay, is this a good fit for me? And then the fourth step is that they are actually product aware. They know what you do. And so at that point, again, this gets back to the whole relationship idea. What's your promise to them? What will you deliver? What have you delivered? What's the things you've created for the value you've created in the past? So it's at this point, you're trying to say, I've got what you need. And the final stage is they're fully aware of things. And really, at this point, what you're trying to do is literally pitch your offer. Here's what you're going to do. And there's some other things we can get into about how you craft that. But the idea is you will, at this point, explain what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and what it's going to cost. Those kinds of things come at this point. And when you get down to this pitch piece, I think Mike would say it really helps to have a script, and I would totally agree. And it's interesting because the script, well, you talk about a script, it's really it sets the stage for things. But it's really going to end up about you asking very good questions and deeply listening to what they have to say. So some of the things that Mike suggests in having in a script is, here's what we'll cover in our call. So again, you set the stage of these are the things. It's just not an open-ended conversation. The next thing is you start talking about why did they ask to meet with you? What's their problem? And really, this is where you probably have to ask several times. What's the problem you want solved and why do you want it solved? And then keep peeling back the layers of the onion to really help dive in a little deeper into the problem. It's one of those things where the problem stated is not often the problem they're experiencing. This is where the listening comes in. And you can even use a question like, what else have you tried? There may have been things that they tried that didn't work. And if you're aware of those, that helps a lot when you go to work on their thing. Now, sometimes people aren't even going to be aware of what you do or the work. I mean, this is the first time they've ever looked for this kind of expertise and help. So you may have to actually set the stage. And again, Mike does a marvelous job of describing that. So you may have to say, for this kind of a problem, there's several levels of people that solve it. A level 10 person, that's the high end, that's the person who's internationally known, those kinds of things. but this is what they cost. And then you'd say, and then there's a level 1 person, a person who's just starting out in this field. This is what you can expect from them in terms of their skills and abilities. And this is all you're going to get, but it's a lower cost. And then you can describe your own level, wherever you feel you fit between level 10 and level 1. Certainly you're probably considering yourself around to level 6 or 7 or 8, something like that. But explain then, what's the differentiation between the 10, yourself, and the 1 level? So with that, I just want to, again, wrap this up. We've been talking and we continue to talk about You Are the Brand by Mike Kim and his 3 questions that start off the things that will really drive your success in creating your own brand is what pisses you off. And for me, it's dealing with ageism in the workplace and culture. You know, what I was once told, Lynn, this is a developmental role. It's for younger people kind of a thing. The next question, what breaks your heart? And for me, it's seeing talented people in the second part of their career being forced onto the sidelines, when in fact, the economy really needs them to be engaged. And so finally, what's the big problem that I'm trying to solve and help you solve is to help modern elders create a fulfilling encore career. How do I help people get back in the game or continue in the game? And how do I help it be fulfilling for them and valuable for the clients that they serve? So remember, with an encore career, the rewards are great. You can work when you want, where you want, and you can do the work you love. And as your coach, I'll help you go farther and faster based on what I've learned from being on this journey for several years. I'll soon be offering openings in my group coaching program, and in those programs will enable you and a peer group to launch and develop your own encore careers. So to get a powerful start, please contact me. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.